Hey YouTube, this is Wrestling Amusement Park Man 62. Now, I thought of this the other day. This is going back and looking at a Wrestlemania from our current. And this is Wrestlemania 36. Now, this Wrestlemania was particularly weird because we were about 3 weeks into the pandemic at the time. Things were starting to shut down. People were home, not sure what to do, so WWE decided to go along with WrestleMania from the Performance Center. Now, opening up the show, Stephanie McMahon did this thing where she talked about the performers and everything else, and how they're glad to entertain us in this time. So, in the pre-show, Cesaro beat Drew Gulak. So now on to the main show. The Kabuki Warriors opened up the show defending their tag team titles versus Alexa Bliss and Nikki Cross. Now this one was an interesting one because you had Asuka and Kairi Sane doing their more Japanese style, um, where Alexa and Nikki were doing their own style. But Alexa did a Twisted Bliss on Kyrie, I think it was, and beat them. Next, you had Elias um, beat King Corbin. This was months after Corbin won the King of the Ring tournament, so he was still in his King Corbin shtick. Um, at the time, Elias was still doing his Walk with Elias shtick as well. Um, but I think Elias hit Corbin with a guitar. Next, you had Becky Lynch beat Shayna Baszler. Now, this one was weird because Shayna got called up, I think it was right after the Rumble of that year. Um, and so you had this back and forth thing. Um, and so it was a very unusual one as well. Next, you had Sami Zayn beat Daniel Bryan as well. Now, this one was a rather weird one as well because with Daniel Bryan at the time, he was doing his yes, yes, yes thing while there was nobody in the room other than some camera people and the announcers. So that was rather weird. Um, Next, you have John Morrison versus Kofi Kingston versus Jimmy Uso for the Raw Tag Titles. Um, John Morrison beat Kofi and Jimmy. I thought it was a rather good. It was actually a ladder match as well. Um, Next, you have Kevin Owens beat Seth Rollins by disqualification. Now, um, I think this was right around the time, if I remember correctly, Seth Rollins was starting his whole Messiah gimmick as well. Um, and it, it wasn't a bad match to begin with. Now, next one, you have Braun Strowman beating Goldberg for the Universal title. Now, originally it was going to be Roman Reigns, um, but Roman stepped away. This was right around the time the pandemic was starting to get very bad, so Roman wanted to basically be safe for him and his family, and I completely agree with him doing that. So, and then to end night one, you have the Boneyard match between The Undertaker and AJ Styles. Now, this one was rather cool because, one, it took place in a cemetery, not like a man made cemetery, just a cemetery from somewhere. And then also, they played for AJ Styles coming in because he was in a hearse. Um, they played one of Undertaker's old themes, the slower version. So I thought that was kind of neat. And then this was the match where you see that meme of AJ Styles and then Undertaker behind him with the light shining behind Undertaker. So, going on to night two. In the pre-show, Liv Morgan beat Natalia by pinfall. Next, to open the show, you have Charlotte Flair beating Rhea Ripley. Now, this goes back to what I said earlier with Charlotte and Rhea for the SmackDown Women's title. At the time, Rhea Ripley was 23 years old. She was just getting her feet in the water, so to speak, in this situation. So, now, next you have Aleister Black beating Bobby Lashley. That one was a good match as well because you had Aleister Black, who has that uh, jiu-jitsu background, and then you have Bobby Lashley, which has, who's very muscular and stuff like that, that likes to beat the crap out of people. Um, Now, next you have Otis beating Dolph Ziggler. Now, this is around the time Dolph was having his thing, or Otis was having his thing with Mandy Rose. Um, Now, for one of the more unusual matches of the night, you had um, Mojo or Rob Gronkowski winning the 24/7 title from Mojo Rawley. Um, Not much to say about that. It's just one of those. Okay, the Street Profits beat uh, Angel and Austin Theory for the Raw Tag titles. Now, the thing with this match in particular as well was I cannot remember if it was that night or the next night on Raw where Bianca Belair made her debut. Now, it sucks. It was during the time where there was nobody in the crowd, but if there was a crowd, I'm sure they would have gone crazy. Now, you have the Fatal Five for the SmackDown Women's title. You have Bayley beating Lacey Evans, Naomi, Sasha Banks, and Tamina for the SmackDown Women's title. That was a rather good match as well. Then you have Bray Wyatt beating John Cena in the Firefly Funhouse match. Now, this one, like The Undertaker, like the Boneyard match, was a good match as well because if you go back and watch it on WWE's YouTube page, um, the cool thing about it is they sort of went through some of the different eras with John Cena as well as some of the different areas of the past. So you had, for example, when John Cena made his debut in WWE on SmackDown with the Fist. Um, and then you had when he was the Doctor of Thugonomics. And then you also, the cool thing is, they also had a couple of things with with uh, WCW in it. And then also you had stuff like the NWO and all that different stuff. So that was a rather fun match. And then lastly, to end off the night, you have Drew McIntyre beating Brock Lesnar for the WWE title. Now, that was a rather cool match to see because that was the first time Drew ever won the WWE title. And actually, fun fact about that too is not even a couple of minutes later, he had to defend it again versus the Big Show. Um, they had it the next night on Raw, where I forgot the reporter's name at the time, was talking to Drew McIntyre, basically congratulating him on winning the WWE title. The Big Show came out, and it's like you're doing a lot of talking, and then there's going to be nothing that's going to make me fight you. He slapped him. A few minutes later, they had a match, and Drew McIntyre won. So overall, WrestleMania 36 was a good show overall. It was weird because normally you're used to 80,000 fans screaming for their favorite star, but because of the pandemic, they weren't allowed to have it. Originally, they were going to have it at Raymond James Stadium in Tampa, Florida. Um, hence the pirate theme in this. Overall, it was a good show. I would highly suggest you watch it on the network and see what you think. Let me know down below. Did you watch it? Have you seen it? Have you seen any match from it? And let me know if there's anything else you would like reviewed as well.